Level 1, the sack letter. You just received your sack letter. 23 years. Reduced to a single envelope. You stare at the words. Position terminated. Effective immediately. No warning. No second chance. Just a handshake. A cardboard box. And a security guard walking you to the exit. The office you've walked into every morning for 2 decades. Doesn't belong to you anymore. You sit behind the wheel of your car. But you don't drive. You can't. Your mind is somewhere else. The mortgage. Your savings. Your children's education. Your retirement. Every plan you've spent years building begins collapsing in your head. You always believed numbers made life predictable. Now, the numbers don't add up. You finally start the engine. Not because you know where you're going, but because sitting still somehow feels worse. Then, your phone rings. Unknown number. You almost ignore it. Almost. Mr. Carter? A calm voice. I heard you're looking for work. You frown. You never posted your resume. You never told anyone. So, how does he know? Before you can ask, he hangs up. 1 minute later, a text message arrives. An address. A time. Tonight. Curiosity tells you to go. Common sense tells you not to. By sunset, only one of them wins. Level 2, the offer. The restaurant is almost empty. Soft piano music. Expensive wine. White tablecloths. The kind of place you could never justify eating in before today. A man in a perfectly tailored Italian suit sits alone. He doesn't wave. He simply watches you approach. You came. His voice is calm. Controlled. Like he already knew you would. You sit down. No introductions. No small talk. He slides a leather folder across the table. Inside isn't a contract. It's your life. Your tax returns. Your mortgage balance. Your bank statements. Photos of your wife. Photos of your children. Photos taken this morning. Your pulse quickens. He notices. Then smiles. I need an accountant. You almost laugh. Surely this is a joke. What company? He leans forward. The kind that doesn't exist on paper. Silence. He studies your reaction. You spent 23 years helping people keep more of their money. I need someone who can make mine disappear. The words don't fully register. Until he places a small duffel bag beside your chair. You unzip it. Stacks of $100 bills. More cash than you've ever seen in your life. That's your first week's pay. Your breathing becomes shallow. This, you whisper, is illegal. He nods. Very. You push the bag away. I can't. He doesn't argue. Instead, he places one final photograph on the table. Your wife, walking home alone, taken less than an hour ago. If you leave, he says quietly, I'll simply have to find another accountant. He pauses. And people who know too much tend to become inconvenient. Your throat goes dry. There is no contract, no signature, no negotiation, only a single nod. Small, almost invisible. But in that instant, your old life ends, and a new one begins. Level 3, the new office. The next morning, a black SUV is waiting outside your apartment. No company logo, no license plate, just tinted windows. You climb in without saying a word. Nobody speaks during the drive. 30 minutes later, the city disappears behind you. Warehouses replace skyscrapers. Barbed wire replaces office buildings. The SUV rolls through 2 steel security gates. Armed guards watch every movement. One of them checks your face against a printed photograph. Only then do the gates open. The warehouse looks abandoned from the outside. Inside, it's anything but. The first thing you hear isn't people talking. It's counting machines. Hundreds of them. A constant mechanical hum that never seems to stop. Then you see it. Cash. Everywhere. Stacked on tables. Packed into crates. Wrapped in plastic. Loaded onto wooden pallets. For a moment, you genuinely believe it's fake. Movie money. Training props. Then a worker slices open a bundle. Fresh $100 bills spill onto the table. Real. Every single one. You stare. You've spent your entire career looking at numbers on a computer screen. Today, the numbers have weight. Level 4, the weight of the zeros. One of the supervisors notices your expression. First time, you nod. He picks up a brick of cash and drops it into your hands. It's heavier than you expected. Do you know how much $1 million weighs? You shake your head. About 22 pounds. He lets that sink in. Now guess $1 billion. Silence. Over 11 tons. Your eyes widen. 11 tons. That's heavier than an elephant. Too heavy for a sports car. Too heavy for a helicopter. Too heavy for the fantasy Hollywood sells. Drug empires don't move briefcases. They move freight. Forklifts, cargo trucks, shipping containers, entire warehouses. The supervisor points across the room. What you're looking at is just 1 week's inventory. Your stomach tightens. 1 week's. You begin doing the math in your head. Then you stop, because the answer is too big to imagine. The supervisor smiles. You're not here to spend it. You're here to make sure nobody ever asks where it came from. For the first time, you understand your real job. Not accounting. Disappearing. Level 5, the first lesson. A thick leather ledger lands in front of you. It isn't empty. Thousands of entries already fill its pages. Dates, routes, payments, shell companies, code names instead of real names. Nothing is written by accident. Every number matters. Every shipment matters. Every dollar matters. The supervisor pulls out a single $100 bill. He places it on the desk. What do you see? $100. He shakes his head. I see evidence. He flips the bill over. Fingerprints. He points to the serial number. A trail. He rubs the edge of the note. Blood. You look at him. He's serious. Cash remembers where it's been. It just needs the right investigator to ask. He leans closer. Your job isn't to count money. It's to erase its memory. The room falls silent. Then you notice something. For desks, only 3 accountants. 1 chair sits empty. You point toward it. What happened to him? Nobody answers. 1 accountant lowers his head. Another keeps typing without looking up. Finally, the supervisor speaks. He misplaced $43,000. You wait for the rest. It never comes. He won't make that mistake again. Your eyes drift back to the empty chair. The leather is still worn. A coffee mug still sits beside it. Whoever worked there left in a hurry. The supervisor slides the ledger toward you. Sit. You do. The chair is still warm. And suddenly, it doesn't feel like a promotion. It feels like a warning. Level 6, the laundromat. By the 3rd day, you finally ask the question that's been sitting in your head. If there's this much cash, how do you spend it? The room goes quiet. Then everyone laughs. Not because it's funny, because it's naive. The supervisor walks over to a whiteboard. He writes 2 words. Dirty money. Then he draws an arrow. Clean money. That's your entire job. He circles the words with a marker. You don't make money. You don't move drugs. You don't negotiate deals. You clean the profits. He tosses you a folder. Inside are hundreds of business records. Restaurants, construction companies, car dealerships, hotels, import-export firms. On paper, they're all successful businesses. In reality, most barely exist. The businesses don't clean the money. They explain it. Every dollar now has a story. A customer, a receipt, an invoice, a tax record. The money hasn't changed. Only its history has. And history can be rewritten. Level 7, the Smurfs. Your first assignment sounds almost ridiculous. It's called smuffing. You raise an eyebrow. Like the blue cartoons. The supervisor smiles. Not quite. He slides a map across the desk. Tiny red circles cover the entire city. Banks, credit unions, money service businesses. Each one is a stop. Every morning, dozens of low-level runners leave before sunrise. Each carries a small amount of cash. Not enough to attract attention. Not enough to raise questions. One deposit here, another there. Again and again. By lunchtime, thousands of small transactions have quietly entered the financial system. Alone, each deposit looks ordinary. Together, they're moving millions. No alarms. No headlines. Just patience. That's the secret. Not speed. Consistency. Because the biggest financial crimes rarely look dramatic. They look routine. You close the folder, thinking you've finally understood the system. The supervisor chuckles. This, he says, this is the slow way. Then he places another folder on your desk. It's 3 times thicker. We're going bigger. Level 8, building the maze. The next lesson has nothing to do with cash. It has everything to do with paperwork. The supervisor writes a single phrase on the board. Shell company. Imagine a company with no employees, no customers, no products, no office. But legally, it exists. He slides a stack of incorporation documents toward you. One company is registered in Panama, another in Cyprus, another in the Cayman Islands, another in Dubai. Each one owns another, which owns another, which owns another. The ownership trail twists across continents. By the time anyone reaches the end, the real owner has disappeared. You spend hours connecting companies with lines. Circles become webs. Webs become mazes. Soon, even you struggle to remember who owns what. And that's exactly the point. Confusion becomes protection. The more complicated the structure, the harder it is for anyone to untangle it. You lean back in your chair, staring at the maze you've built. It doesn't look like accounting anymore. It looks like architecture, not buildings, but illusions. And somewhere, hidden beneath layers of paperwork, billions of dollars quietly change their identity. For the first time, you understand why they hired you. Not because you're good at math, because you're good at making impossible things look perfectly ordinary. Level 9, the missing millions. 3 months pass. You settle into the routine. Shipments arrive. Ledgers balance. Shell companies grow. For the first time since you started, you almost feel comfortable. That's when everything goes wrong. It starts with a number. Nothing more. Nothing less. A transfer that should read $18,742,000. Instead, your spreadsheet shows $16,342,000. You blink, then check it again. $2.4 million. Gone. You assume it's a typo. You recalculate. Same answer. You pull the invoices. Same answer. You check the shipping manifests. Still missing. Your heartbeat begins to climb. Somewhere, someone has stolen $2.4 million. The question is, who? Level 10, the audit. You don't sleep that night. You read every invoice, every receipt, every customs declaration, every shipping record, every fuel expense. Again and again, the numbers begin to blur together. Coffee becomes your dinner. The sunrise catches you still staring at the screen. Nothing. No mistake. No explanation. Only missing money. By afternoon, the boss arrives. Nobody announces him. The room simply falls silent. He walks straight toward your desk. No smile. No greeting. Just one question. Did you find it? You hesitate. The worst possible answer. Not yet. He studies your face for several seconds. Seconds that feel like hours. Then he closes your laptop. You have until tonight. He turns around and leaves. Only after the door shuts do you realize you've been holding your breath. One of the older accountants leans toward you. You don't get extensions here. You already know what he means. Because the empty chair across the room still hasn't been filled. Level 11, the fuel receipt. The office is almost empty. Everyone else has gone home. You stay. There has to be something. A number. A receipt. Anything. You start from the beginning. Not because it's efficient. Because you've run out of ideas. Then, you see it. A fuel reimbursement. $37,000. Nothing unusual. Until you read the vessel's name. You search the shipping log. No departure. You search the port records. No arrival. You search the maintenance schedule. The boat never left the dock. So why? Did it need fuel? You keep digging. Another invoice. Same vessel. Different date. Same story. Then another. And another. Suddenly, the missing millions aren't missing anymore. They've been leaking away for months. Small amounts. Hidden inside fake operating expenses. Too small to notice individually. Too large to ignore together. Every fake expense leads back to one office. One signature. One man. The plaza boss in Veracruz. You print the evidence. Place it inside a folder. And walk toward the boss's office. For the first time, the numbers aren't protecting someone. They're about to destroy someone. Level 12, the judgment. The boss doesn't ask you to sit. He doesn't ask how you found it. He simply extends his hand. You place the folder in it. The room is silent. No one dares to speak. He opens the first page, then the second, then the third. You watch his face. Nothing changes. No anger. No surprise. No satisfaction. Just stillness. He reaches the final page. The evidence is undeniable. Every fake fuel invoice. Every forged signature. Every missing dollar. All leading back to one man. The plaza boss in Veracruz. The boss closes the folder. Slowly, he picks up a silver lighter from his desk. Flick. The flame appears. He studies it for a moment, then snaps it shut. Click. The sound echoes through the room. He looks at one of his guards. Handle it. That's it. No shouting. No trial. No debate. The guard nods once and walks out. You never see him return. The meeting ends. Everyone stands. Everyone leaves. No one mentions Veracruz again. You don't ask what handle it means. You already know. In your old job, an audit ended with penalties. Maybe someone got fired. Here, An audit ends with someone disappearing. And the most terrifying part is how quickly the office returns to normal. The counting machines start humming again. Phones begin ringing. People continue working, as if nothing happened, as if a man's fate had just become another line in a ledger. You stare at your screen for a long time. Then you enter one final note. Discrepancy resolved. You press enter. The system balances, but something inside you never will. Level 13, the golden cage. A year passes. You're no longer the new accountant. You're trusted, respected, feared. The numbers in your personal bank account no longer feel real. 8 figures, luxury apartments, Swiss watches, tailored suits, private flights, everything you once dreamed of, everything money was supposed to buy. Yet, you've never felt poorer. You can't visit your hometown. You can't call your old friends. You can't attend family gatherings. You can't explain where your wealth came from. Every unknown phone number makes your heart race. Every car that slows outside your building catches your attention. Every knock at the door feels different. You sleep lightly. If you sleep at all, your apartment is beautiful, but it isn't a home. It's a bunker. Your security cameras never turn off. Neither does your paranoia. Then one evening, you open an old photo album. Pictures from your previous life. Your first house. Family birthdays. Office parties. Simple moments. Back then, you thought you were struggling. Now you'd give everything you own to have that life back. You close the album, walk to your desk, and open the ledger. Another shipment. Another transfer. Another company. Another fortune waiting to disappear. You stare at the blinking cursor. It doesn't care about your regrets. It doesn't care about your fear. It only waits, patiently, for the next number. Because in this world, there is no retirement, no resignation, no farewell party, only one exit. And you stop choosing your future. The moment you nodded across that restaurant table, the cursor keeps blinking, waiting, always waiting, for the next entry.